Welcome to the Real Voices podcast, where we explore the personal journeys of real estate professionals through their own unique challenges and successes. Real Voices is brought to you by Equitable Title and Escrow, providing a better approach to title and escrow through team support and innovative services. Welcome to another great show. We have another great guest. We have Marco Bravo here with us today. Appreciate you being on. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Marlon. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into this industry, how long you've been in, and who is it that you serve?
Okay, yeah. So I am actually pretty new to the industry.
Okay.
I am about 3 months in.
Okay.
And for the last 16 years, I was an educator.
Okay.
So I taught middle school, I taught high school, I taught college, and I really loved it. Mm-hmm. It was, I felt like it was my calling for a long time. And then, about 2 years ago, I started kind of seeing that I was getting stale in it, and I thought maybe it's time for a change. Then I talked to my family, and he said, what about real estate? It could be a good opportunity. And so I jumped in, full faith, just going after it. And I believe in a lot in coincidences and kind of signals and signs and everything. And as soon as I got in, I had some really good success. I closed on 2 houses in the first 2 months. So to me, it was like, wow, okay, maybe I'm really good at this. Maybe I can have the same success that I had in teaching. And so I'm excited.
Wow.
I'm excited about it. And it's definitely been a learning curve.
Right.
But I just love learning, and I love using, the skills that I have from teaching to convey over to real estate. And I feel like it's very compatible. And just basically you're just talking to people,
right,
like I'm talking to you, Marco.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So was it the shutdown that had you thinking differently? What was it about that time?
Yeah, the shutdown, and I think it was just kind of a little bit of the politics of education, and the shutdown had a little bit to do with it. And, I really enjoyed teaching college. And when we lived in Nebraska for a while, and I really enjoyed that. And when we kind of moved and I got out of that setting and back into kind of, middle school, high school, I was like, I just don't feel like, I'm at the professional level that I want to be at. And so, it was kind of a step back for me. And so it kind of just made me really evaluate, where I was professionally. And like I said, I took a leap of faith. I had a really good friend of mine who was in real estate, and he's actually the one that helped me out with buying my current house.
Okay.
And he's like, you might be good at this. And so I said, well, let's check it out.
Right.
let's and I studied for the test. I studied hard, passed them, and then I was off to the races.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate the story. I mean, like you say, the coincidences and things that happened to you. So do you felt like you've had many challenges starting out, or you just feel like, wow, I'm coasting here, I got this? Where are you at with that?
When I first got my real estate license, it was kind of like, okay, now what? What do I do now? And they don't really teach you that in real estate school. They teach you, the laws and kind of just the logistics, but they don't really teach you how to be an agent.
Right.
So I was like, well, I can either do this by myself and kind of just self-teach myself, or I can go on a fast track and join a team. And so I kind of searched around the Valley for a team that might kind of be my style. And I had a talk with Elazar Medrano. By coincidence, again, I wanted to actually host an open house for him.
Okay.
And he was like, well, I don't have any open houses, but like, hey, you want to join a team? I was like, well, maybe let's talk, And so I sat down with him, and, I actually planned, after I got my license, I planned to just do real estate for the summer.
Okay.
And I planned to go back to school.
Okay.
After talking with him, he said, if you really want to do this, you got to do this full time. Have faith in me, have faith in the team. And I went to one of their team meetings. I was like, okay, this is it.
Okay.
This is not a coincidence that I'm sitting here and all these things that are happening in my life. And so I said, okay. I called the next day. I said, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not coming back to school the next year. I plan to, but I'm really sorry. I'm I'm going to take this chance, and I think it's going to be very, very great. On the flip side, though, I do want to say that for me, teaching was, I loved teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I did love it, and I still do. You know, sometimes I miss the classroom, and that is why part of my commission, I always want to give back to public schools. So that's one of my commitments is that if I close a deal, I'll ask my client, hey, part of my commission, I am going to donate it to a public school or any school, and you tell me which one. And so that's kind of my little niche of saying, hey, thank you for all those years of joy. Thank you for all those lifelong friendships that I had as an educator, and just trying to pay it forward.
Man, that's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I guess, you've been around for a few months here. What do you feel like your biggest challenges have been in the transition or in the industry in general? Where have you struggled at?
It comes back to like, you don't know what you don't know, and so there are things that come up that are very unique to each transaction.
Right.
And just because I don't have the experience yet, I'm still learning a few things. And so having this team behind me where they do have that experience and they have been through those trials and tribulations, it just helps me learn and help my clients, having this basically 8 other agents kind of have their back, So there has, as far as challenges, nothing specific, is just kind of just learning, you know, and these last 2 transactions that I had, my first 2 transactions, they were a little bit challenging, but I learned so much. And, you have to go through those, there's a saying, a calm sea never made a skillful sailor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so going through those kind of hard transactions really opened my eyes to just how much support you need and how much of a team can really help you out.
Right. I appreciate it. We were actually talking about this earlier when we were setting up for the show today, about how you just can't do this. You can't be successful no matter who you are without a team behind you and cheerleading and doing their part, right? For you to do your part. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's a struggle with a lot of new agents. They don't feel like they don't know enough, so they don't move, they don't progress. Right.
And it's tough, as a new agent, you don't know how to spend your time. You don't know if you should be marketing more, if you should be, sending out flyers, if you should be doing CE classes, and you can learn all that stuff.
Right.
It's just going to take you probably, 6 months to a year. But once you get on a team, you're fast tracked.
Right.
The things that I've learned these last 2-3 months, it could have taken me, 6 months, if I did it all by myself. And you just have, I could pick up the phone if I have a question and I can just ask one of my teammates, and they've done it, or they know what the answer to it. And so that gives you, just as a new agent, gives you a lot of confidence. Gives you a lot of confidence to be able to go out to talk to your clients and, know that you have that expertise, and know that if they have a question, hey, I might not have the answer for you right now, but give me 5 minutes. I'm going to make a phone call and I'll have that answer right away.
Easy enough, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly.
I really do appreciate you sharing that. That's what I try and share is like, you'll get an answer. Just move forward. You have a team. Right. You'll be all right. You'll be able to take care of this. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Kind of staying along those lines. Again, a lot of newer agents, especially when they're a male agent, and they have a family that they're needing to take care of, and they just left a check to do this. What was that conversation like with you and your wife and your family?
It was a tough conversation. It's and we still talk a little bit about it. With as a teacher, you have you have good benefits. You have a salary. You can rely on that. But at the same time, one of the reasons that I got out of teaching was because I felt I was capped.
Okay.
I felt no matter how much work I put in the classroom, it was always going to be the same paycheck.
Right.
With real estate, I'm not capped, basically. If I'm working 80 hours a week and I'm closing deals,
Right.
that paycheck's going to be a lot bigger.
Right.
And, I don't mind working hard. I worked hard in the classroom. I'm hustling out here, in real estate and I'm getting results, and so that's, yeah, it was a tough conversation to have, it was to have with my family but, I'm really happy that they kind of were supporting me and they still support me and they're, 100% behind me, which as a new agent, it's scary.
Right.
It's scary. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't go out and hunt, you're not eating, and so yeah, you definitely need to have that support that, that support that, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And let's go in and do it.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. That support is needed at home. Otherwise it's stressful at home and at work. So
yeah,
So
exactly.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So where are you from? Where you from originally?
So my parents are from Nicaragua.
Okay.
Both of my parents are from Nicaragua. I'm a first generation.
Okay.
I grew up in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm a Wildcat fan. And then I went out and went to college at University of Redlands out in California. Came back and did my master's at the University of Arizona.
Okay.
And so that was in Spanish literature and Latin American studies. So that's what I was teaching: Spanish, Spanish literature, and Latin American studies. And then we spent 13 years in the Midwest.
Okay.
My wife's career took us out to Omaha, Nebraska, and then we were in Madison, Wisconsin, and then we went back to Lincoln, Nebraska, and then we moved back. And I am so glad that I never have to shovel snow ever again. Yeah, it was great. It was great to see that part of the country and to the Midwest values are great.
Yeah. It's a different world too.
It is a different world. It is a different world. And the people in the Midwest are so many great friends from the Midwest. And, but we're glad to be back in Arizona. This is home for me. This has always been home for me. And, like I said, if I never see another snowflake ever again,
You'll be all right.
I'll be all right.
I feel you on that. I feel you. Hey, so as growing up here, what do you feel like your greatest, I guess, challenge was growing up here in Arizona? What did you face here? What would that look like for you and your family as immigrants?
Yeah, we as an immigrant family, first, I was first generation. We didn't have a lot. And that's kind of one of my core values is there were people in our lives that were basically the open door for us. A lot of people that would donate to programs or to. I was involved in tennis for a long time.
Okay.
I grew up playing tennis, and I got I played college tennis and everything. Okay. And so there were some people that that helped me out because tennis is expensive.
Right. Yeah.
It's an expensive sport,
for
and
sure.
like here we an immigrant family. Oh gosh, you want to play tennis? Really?
Right.
One of the most expensive sports, and there were people that they let me wash the courts so I can could go to the academy, do the water jugs, help me out with shoes and rackets and just kind of now as an adult, I see that I couldn't have succeeded the way if I didn't have those people in my lives, that that helped me and my family out. So I've always tried to give back in anything that I do. We had for a while we had like this cycling team, and we were able to donate over the years about $12,000 to give back to the tennis program in Tucson, because that's kind of where a lot of the cyclists we knew each other from tennis, and so we all kind of put our brains together and had people donate, and so. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to give back. Right. It is definitely a good feeling to give back.
Thank you. I was thinking the other day we were sitting around chatting at one of the branches, and a couple of the girls were talking about how they grew up playing baseball and things like that. And it dawned on me, and there was a baseball game on I think it was one of the World Series for the children. And it just dawned on me that how blessed you have to be able to play sports like that. Like I grew up, I wanted to play football, and my mom was like, I can't afford to put you in football.
No,
and
yeah.
it just was like, and that was the end of that, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess, you don't realize how blessed you are and how, difficult it is for you to even play a sport as a kid,
right,
and have the same experiences that other kids are having, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. As a kid, you just don't realize those things until you get older, and you're like, and then you're the parent paying for these things,
exactly.
right? You're like,
oh, that's why.
Gosh.
Now I get it.
Now
right?
I know why my mom and dad didn't want me to do this, and it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, sports are expensive.
It's crazy. It's just there's this divide in sports too. Like
Yeah.
there's a divide everywhere you go with money and access. It's just even in sports. Right?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
it's wild. So
yeah.
thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate that. When you're thinking about your mom and your dad, what do you think was the greatest lesson they instilled in you?
I think education.
Okay.
They were really big on education. They they sacrificed a lot to come to this country, and I think as an adult I kind of realized, wow, I can't imagine like having to pick up and take my family to a different country, learn a new language, learn culture, all that stuff, just to kind of basically, have a better life.
Right.
For a lot of us here, it's something that we don't ever have to think about.
I know.
We don't have to think about that. It's not in our it's not in our cards, right? But yeah, they were always, so. How can I say this? They were so passionate about just always learning and staying in school, and it was always kind of for us growing up, it was like, it's not if you're going to go to the university, it's which university you're going to. That was the mentality that we had in our house.
That's cool, man.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
You are going, however it is, you are going to university and you are going to get a diploma and you're going to be successful. And I think that's why I had this passion to become an educator. For a while I wanted to be like a businessman in finance and everything. And then I took my first macroeconomics class, and I'm like, what is this? This is like German or something.
Right.
I didn't understand it, and I was like, okay, maybe my brain isn't working in this realm right now. And so that's when I kind of started thinking about maybe going into education.
The good old arts, right?
Yeah,
The arts.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I appreciate it. Do you get to read much?
Oh my gosh, I love reading.
All right. Well,
it's like reading is like my my safe space.
okay.
I love poetry.
Okay.
I for a while I was writing a lot of poetry. This is probably like 10 years ago. But yeah, I'm always reading a book.
Okay.
I'm always reading a book. I just got done with this book called The Road.
Haven't heard of that one. What's that about?
So it's a Pulitzer Prize winner, and it's about this son and their dad who are basically, it's post-apocalyptical. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you don't really know what happens, but everything's basically burned down.
Okay.
Like the world is burning down, and the son and his dad are basically just trying to survive together. And they're forming this bond with the world just around them just burning, and they're trying to get to the ocean because that's where they think that's there's going to be these boats that are going to save them and take them to a safe place. It's really well written, and yeah, here's my thing about books though. I will read the first 100 pages of any book that anybody gives me.
Okay.
But if I don't turn to that 101 page, if it's that interesting,
You're done?
I'm done. I'm done. I have to have, that kind of that connection to the book, to the author, to the characters, and it's probably because of my major.
Makes sense.
I'm kind of
Makes
just
sense.
like if it's not good writing, I'm not going to read it.
Makes sense.
I'll read the first 100 pages, but then after that, sorry.
While I'm over here, I'm just a skimmer. If it doesn't catch my eye, I'm just skimming. I'm looking for keywords and things. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of how I do it. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on today. I had a great time chatting with you and
thank
getting to know you a little bit better.
Thank you.
Where can the audience find you? Where can they contact you?
Yeah, so they can obviously contact me at my cell phone, 520-490-3698. Or they can also email me at marco@themedranogroup.com. And yeah, if you call, I'll answer.
Awesome. That's a promise, right?
Yeah, that is a promise. Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it. I had a good time. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marlon. Thank you.
Welcome.